Alright, so in today's video, we're going to be talking about Mr. Zero. You guys might be wondering, Shan, who the heck is Mr. Zero? Of course, it is our favorite Iranian striker that has played 0 minutes so far for the national team, Deniz Eckert. I hate giving him this nickname because he honestly doesn't deserve it. But here we are post-World Cup having to talk about Deniz Eckert, the fact that he still hasn't gone a single minute for the national team, and what his future should look like for Team Melli. This might not be a long video, but I felt like it was a video that needed to be recorded, bring up the discussion, and kind of just begin the conversation about everything Deniz Eckert leading into the Asian Cup. Because in my opinion, this next 6 months is going to be make it or break it for him, because Eckert isn't young. He's 29 years old, and with a lot of us wanting to see younger players come into the national team, and Eckert not necessarily being one of the older players, he's not like in his 30s yet, but he's not young either, and having not played for the national team, what do we do with this? Does he actually have a place here for the Iranian national team? But before we get into it, boys and girls, if you are a big fan of Asian football, but more specifically the Iranian national team, this is the channel that you need to be at, so make sure to subscribe as we're on the road to 7,000 subscribers before the Asian Cup, and I know with your guys' help we can reach that milestone. Smash the like button, as every single time you guys like the video, it helps out so much to reach out to more people, and more people get to see my ugly mug on their screens. So firstly, talking about Deniz Eckert at the 2026 World Cup. I mean, he didn't play at all. Rightfully, wrongfully. The rumors are that he was hurt, which I feel like is such bogus, because from everything that I've heard from the people that I know that have eyes and ears with Team Melli, he was probably good enough to play, but Amr Qalanui didn't seem to trust him. There's a whole lot of possibilities and theories you can make. Yes, you could agree with what the staff is saying, that Eckert was not fit, not ready to play. Fair enough. Still doesn't make sense, but fair enough. Or what I'm thinking is, Eckert was still relatively good enough to play, but Qalanui didn't trust him to give him any minutes at this World Cup. And on my life, I can tell you all this, is 70 to 80% Eckert would have done so much more than a 10,000% Moghalu, because we saw that and he absolutely stunk up the park. I think our biggest frustrations if Eckert was fit, unfit. Firstly, if he wasn't fit, why call him up? Why bring him? You brought in Cheshmi, you brought in Eckert, who were not fit and just wasted 2 spots in our World Cup roster. But I guess that's very mainstream for Qalanui. He never uses the frontal lobe of his brain. But in the games like against Belgium or New Zealand where you needed a goal, I felt like Eckert was the perfect guy to bring on. Bringing on Eckert at around like that 70th, 80th minute after we got that second equalizing goal from Mohebi would have been the perfect time to bring him on. And if he wasn't fit then in the Belgium game, when Belgium got the red card, they were down to 10 men. That was the perfect time to bring him in. Someone that could add some directness, a different dimension to our offense. Because that's the biggest thing with Eckert is, he's an unknown quantity in like the best way possible. He's a striker that the Iranian national team hasn't really had in the last decade. He reminds me a lot of Olivier Giroud. That hold up play, heading ability, can just be a nuisance in the box with his big body, big German frame, that I just don't think a lot of our players fit that profile. I think it is such a shame that he didn't get any minutes leading up to the World Cup, at the World Cup, because regardless if he was called up to, you know, soften the blow of the whole political issues for Azmoun not getting called up, or whatever it may have been, he deserved an opportunity at this World Cup. And I know a lot of you might not agree with me and be like, well, dude, Shan, we don't know how good he is. He's kind of a subpar player in Europe. I know for a fact he would have done better than Alipur and Moghalu, who both can't even be up to scuff to be subpar players in Europe. Being a player that is a solid contributor for various teams across Europe, from Spain, Germany, Belgium, is 80 to 90% better than most of the current strikers that we have. If you're not going to play youngsters, he is your next best bet. And I think to add another layer to it is because all of us fans just want to see something a little bit different, something exciting. And all of us were excited about Eckert, that unknown factor of what he could bring. A lot of our dual nationals throughout history have been big contributors for us. Dejaga, Qudus, Gujenejad were all big pivotal players for us in the late 2010s under Carlos Queiroz. And I would not have been surprised if we saw the same impact here with Eckert. And in the end, it was a lot of he said, she said, was he hurt, was he not hurt, did Qalinui just not rate him, whatever it may have been, Eckert would have done way better than guys like Moghalu, Alipur. I can put my hand on heart and say that. But at this point now, with 6 months leading into the Asian Cup, all of us fans know that the national team needs to start implementing youngsters. It's looking like Qalinui is gonna be the coach, which absolutely makes me want to reevaluate my life. What should happen now with Deniz Eckert? Do we see youngsters actually play? Is Qalinui gonna keep on this absurd behavior of playing 30-plus-year-olds in major tournaments? We all want to see this next generation get given a chance. I think 90% of fans are willing to sacrifice this Asian Cup, the short-term success, to see young players be embedded leading into the tournament, at this tournament, for the 2030 World Cup cycle. And if that's the case, I think it makes things a little bit tricky with Deniz Eckert. But regardless, I think at baseline, even if Qalinui is going to continue this absolute behemoth kubide madman behavior of playing unks, there's still a spot for him here. I still think he has a chance, at least at the Asian Cup. 2030 World Cup, well, if a lot of these youngsters end up developing into half-decent strikers, good strikers, that I think a lot of them can become, I'm not really sure if there's a place for him. But at this Asian Cup, this could be Eckert's tournament to stamp his name in. And it could honestly be his first and last opportunity with Team Melli, which is so crazy to think about, and I feel bad for him, but I strongly think that could be the case. Regardless if youngsters do come, you want to play the unks, I think Eckert should be given a chance at this Asian Cup. Not because it's like a charity selection, but I feel like he deserves the opportunity. He's a player that has played in Europe throughout his whole career. He's a good enough player for Team Melli. The word of the day, he adds a different dimension to this team. While I do think his attributes would have been way more effective at the World Cup against higher opposition, and I do think the Asian Cup might be a little bit tricky for him because Asian football can just be absurd. I mean, we've all seen that as Iranian national team fans, or maybe if you're not even Iranian national team fans, but Asian football fans, we have seen that. So he could struggle a little bit as this is like unfamiliar territory for him. He's never been in Asian World Cup qualifiers. The Asian Cup is just a different beast. The fact that Qatar have won it back to back says it all. I want to see him given a big role at this tournament. I think a big contingent to this is how are we going to approach the tournament? Are we going to actually implement youngsters? Does Azmoun come back into the mix? Which I think there's a strong possibility that can be the case. But if you decide not to bring up guys like Alipur, Moghalu, like just dead wood strikers, and you call up unks like Taremi, Azmoun, Eckert, and maybe like a Hosseinzadeh, that is not the worst striker selection you could pick from. Way better than the World Cup options, but it's not the direction we want us to be going at. But let's say you go with a little bit more of a younger crop of players. Let's say you go with Taremi, no Azmoun, Gandipur, Sahar Khizan, Tahiri, any of those guys. I think that would be a little bit more interesting and would make a lot more sense. Either way, I would still have Eckert in the fold. From now, these next 6 months to the Asian Cup, let's just give it a go with Deniz Eckert. If he wants to be here, he wants to commit to the national team, which from everything I've seen, I think he does. Let's give him a proper run, see how he does, because with the direction the national team should go into, there isn't much of a future for him because of how late he has decided to play for the national team. We were able to get everything over the line. Let's give him a proper go, implement the youngsters. I think you could easily do both of these two things, and you would make me and many other Iranian football fans super happy. We would be over the moon. But regardless, if you want to play the unks or play the youngsters, Deniz Eckert should still be in the mix, because I could definitely see Eckert making a big impact for the Iranian national team at the Asian Cup. But as I always say at the end of every single video, boys and girls, my opinion only matters so much. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. This video was completely off the cuff, came straight from the dome for everything I was thinking about when it came to Deniz Eckert. It's not like I've been daydreaming about this or having nightmares about it, or maybe I was and I just don't want to admit it to you guys. But I felt like it was a video, a discussion that we all needed to have about a striker that truly just deserves to get an opportunity for Team Melli. If you're new to the channel and you're a big fan of Asian football, but more specifically the Iranian national team, this is the channel that you need to be at, so make sure to subscribe as we're on the road to 7,000 subscribers before the Asian Cup, and I'm super confident with your guys' help, we can reach that milestone. Smash the like button on this video, and if you guys enjoyed this one, don't stop watching now as I have countless other fantastic videos across my channel. So click over here as the YouTube algorithm specifically recommended this video for you all to watch next. And click over here as I post content weekly on the channel and you don't want to miss it. But boys and girls, I hope you'll have a lovely day.